welcome to E.G. Jewel Lapidary. Today we're going to talk about, I mean, you used to see me talking about lapidary stuff, which is grinding and polishing cabs, but today I'm going to have something a little bit different, which is we're going to talk about metal smithing, and we're going to be talking about the bezels that goes around the cabs. Some of you have problems with the new cabs or the new designer cabs, so we're going to go through all that with the different ones that we have. But before I start that, I would like to introduce my best follower on YouTube. She's here with me today, and this is Isabella. She's my granddaughter, and she watched every video I did on YouTube, and she, as a matter of fact, she wanted to get my autograph. So she's with us today, and I figured, okay, I'm gonna have her in one of my my video. So say hello to everyone.
Hello.
Okay, and she's going to help me today with my presentation. So as I said, I'm going to be talking about the bezels. And the old way of doing cabs used to be standard cabs, that standard sizes, and mainly they were like oval shape, round, rectangle. So they were easy, they were standard sizes that anybody can use them. But right now, we have a lot of people doing designer cabs. And with the designer cabs, they're a little bit different. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to talk to you just to show you the regular cabs that I'm talking about. Could you give me one of these? Yes. Okay. These are the oval cabs that we have. They're all standard size, so you cut them to shape, and any metalsmith can actually fit them into the bezel. You could buy actually the standard bezel. Give me the other one. I can show this one here. Yeah, and here, this one here is a teardrop, and as a teardrop, also it's a standard shape that you could actually buy the bezel already made, and you could use them. The other one I'm going to talk about is the square one. Square one, I mean, everybody does square, but even though the square, these are 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, and I got quite a few of them here. Now, these here, they're 90-degree angles, and even with the 90-degree angles and that size small, what do you do with the bezel? So I'm going to show you also. Yeah, okay, thank you, Isabella. Can you show me the rings, please? And so I have these 3 ways to do it with the rings. I got 3 different bezel already made that I'm going to show you how to fit them in on all 3. So they are different, and I'm going to show you the type of material that we're using here. Now, with the designer cabs, we have different shapes, so the whoever cut the cabs and designed them the way they like, or the way that you could actually maximize the cab or the material that they have, or they get the best colors and shape or design into that cab. The majority right now, for instance, you get one like this. So this here, it's pointed down at the bottom and pointed at the top. A lot of people are having problem bending or folding the bezels around the narrow areas here. So I'm going to show you how. Here's another one that also is the same thing, which is a little bit different. You know, still the same, has the bottom pointed and the top is also pointed. So, and then there's this one here where again it's completely different, which pointed at the bottom, but I got quite a bit of druzy on the top that I don't want to damage, and I don't want to put any bezel around it to cover it. So we're going to talk about this, how you can get around this and at the same time create a cab or a finished product that will look super and it will look good, and you eliminate the cramping over with the bezels that it doesn't look really good. And I'm going to show you the difference between the two. This here we're going to talk, like I said, about the square, which is the 90 degree, and you could do that with any sizes. This one here is 1/2 inch, so I'm going to show you how to do that with the 1/2 inch rings that I have, and then we're going to go into the other ones, which is the pointed one, which you can't really fold, and you get the bezel cramped around in that corner. So I will show you all that. So I'll be back and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. See you in a bit. So just to explain what I'm talking about, or the problem that we're trying to eliminate, is when you use the bezel and you get into especially the straight bezel, you get to sharp corner and you won't be able to basically close it or bend it over the cap that you have, and it's going to look like that. So this is what we're trying to eliminate. I was looking to see if I have any of these, but I didn't have too many caps that they had this problem, so I just found this one here, and probably I'm going to take a picture and put it right beside me here. But this is the problem we're trying to eliminate. Now, if we're looking at the bezels, there's different type of bezels, and the one that you're gonna have most of the problem with is the straight bezel. They come in different thicknesses, and in order to eliminate this problem, you have a choice for using the scalloped bezel. So it will minimize the problem, but not completely. So if you got a sharp corner and you start right at the scallops when they go down, and you wrap it from this point and you bend it, that will eliminate that problem, but not necessarily you'll be able to do it if you have more than one sharp angle in that cap. So you might come or end up at one point where you're hitting right the center of the high point of that scallop, and then you're going to have this problem. The other ones that you could use, which will minimize also the problem, is the gallery wires. And I got a couple of types. They might look the same, but they're a little bit different. And what you have here is these point that coming up that you'll be able to bend over your cap, and that will eliminate some of the problems that we were talking about. Now, let's go back to what I was talking before about the square 90 degrees. These here are square 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, which is about 12 millimeter by 12. This is standard size, but I bought these here. There's two types. One is thinner than the other one, and also it's higher. The thinner one, it's high, and the way it's designed, that has the split right in the corner. And so if you look at this one here, if I open it, and here what you could see, the corner is quite open here, and that is easy to have. If you have a square uh, cab, it will be easy to put it in. So if I have this gap here, I can put it in, and basically I will close it, and I won't have any problem with the corners. So that's one type that you could have. The other type that I was talking about, or I also bought, is these square. The material, it's a little bit, the height of it, it's about 2.5 millimeter, and which is 2 millimeter on the inside, and also it's thicker, so it's almost 0.6 millimeter on the thickness. So the gauge is you get a thicker gauge on this one than the other, so it is harder to bend this one here over your cab. So there is two ways of working with this one here. One is to use it the way it is, and since this one is shallow, you need a cab that is maybe a little bit shallower, like this one here, and you put it in, but you actually glue it in place. So what I use for gluing is I use the Rio Grande, it's called Jet Set. And this here is very good because it doesn't yellow, and it doesn't come apart, and it's clear, so you won't even see it. So that's what I'm using. So one thing is you use the glue, which I don't like to use glue too much, but sometimes you need to have it, need to use it. Okay, and it will work good. Now the other way of doing that ring, but if you want to have the bezel over your cab, is by filing the corners like I did here. So you could see the corners are filed, all four of them, and you take the rectangular file and you just go in the center and just cut them off. So now you have an edge that you could bend over your cap. The problem with these, when they make them, they're struck with a die, and because of the thickness is thicker, it actually hardened the silver. So the material is quite hard to bend. So what I did with this one here is you stress relieve it, so make it softer, and this way you'll be able to bend it. And here's one. So if I put this one in and I start working at it from each side, that will go over it, and I won't have any problem with it, and I don't need to glue it. Okay, so this is the other way of doing the ring. So now you could get the soft one, which I don't like too much, but it's there, it's available. You can get the straight one, which you can glue, or you can get the same one, which is thicker material, and you cut the corners like I showed you here, and then you'll be able to bend them over, and you'll be alright, and you could use that. Okay, now this is the easy one. What if we have the designer cabs like I showed you before? So let's take one at a time. So we'll take this one here, and I'm going to show you what I did. Now we got to think out of the box. We got to think about how can we design something that's going to look good, and at the same time it's going to be pleasing to the eyes, and it's going to hold your cab in place. So if you look at this one here, here's the cab, and what I did is I traced the cab on the outside. So once you trace it, you're going to say, okay, how am I going to hold it? What I did with this one here, I'm going to put, this is the bottom plate, but I'm going to put one of my bezel on the outside here. So all along this side is going to be a bezel, and across from it, right at this corner, I will put another small bezel that I'm going to round the edges here and there, and that's going to hold it from moving out this way. So now I have it held on this side, and it's going to be held also on this end. So really, that cap is not going to move anywhere. It's going to stay in position. It's going to stay in place. Now, to make it even nicer, I've added these designs all around here, which then you could put your bail, actually, you could hook it right there. And now this where it's going to be. In order this one to stay in position, I could put a ball right here, and that will lock it in that position here between these two. Now, here I got one that I know is going to look nice, yet I don't have to worry about this sharp edge or that sharp edge anymore. So that's done. Another one is, let's talk about this one here. Now this, I have this cap that also it is sharp at the bottom and sharp at the top. So again, you lay out the outside line of the cap, and now I'm going to put this one here on a larger plate that's going to look like that. And at the same time, I'm going to have the bezel, I'm going to put on this side and the opposite side. So really it's all around except the top at this point and the bottom at this point here. When you get to these two sides, make sure that instead of having the bezel flat, what you need to do is you round them off. So you could cut it, file it nicely, so it will look nice. So when you put it in and you bend it over, it will look like it's done on purpose. It's not just you trying to cut it because you couldn't bend it. Now on this particular one, what I did, I'm going to add an opal at the top here, and I'm going to use some of the gallery wire over the opal, and that's going to look really nice over here. The back plate, which is silver, it's going to be brush finished, and by doing brush finish, it's going to give it that look. Instead of everything just silver shiny, it's going to be brushed. So I'm going to have the brushing in this direction, and the reason I'm having it in this direction because the cap, it's lengthwise this way, so it's just to look nicer, you put it the other way, so you could see the brushing is going to be in this this direction here. So this is another one that it will do and will eliminate this working around these points. Okay, now I have another one, third one, that this one here, which it has a point at the bottom, but also had these drusies at the top that I don't want to cover. I would like to show it, and I would like to leave it the way it is, because if you cover it, you defeat the purpose of showing your the quality of your cap. So now, what I did with this one here, again, I lay out the cap and I did I marked it all around it, so I got the shape. And in this particular one, I said, okay, well, I'm going to add a few other things to it. So I start working with this design first I did the bezel that's going to be on the outside here, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to have a straight bezel or is going to be the uh, the gallery bezel, which is this one here. So I got to think of that a little bit more. Now, what I did, okay, if I'm going to hold it in this area, what am I going to do on the other side? So first I said, okay, I'm going to have these garnets. I got 3 garnets that I will put right along the edge. So they're going to be something like that. The base is going to be out, as you could see here. So it's all the way to the outside. And then I'm going to put this wire that's going to be in between, and it's going to look like as you could see it here. Now on the top, what I did is I have a willow opal that is not completed yet. It's a doublet. Doublet means that it has a base, which is this black base that I have. And with the doublet, now it's glued on, and what I'm going to do is just grind it to shape. Once that is done, again, I'm going to put a bezel around it, and that's going to sit nicely on the top over here. Once that is done, I realized, okay, now I got something to hold it here, and I thought that probably these garnet, it will actually hold it in position. But then I realized maybe it won't, because if somebody mishandled it or it pushed out, you might lose the cap. So what I added in then later on is 2 prongs. And one is going to be here and one is going to be at this point. So these prongs, they're going to be short prong, but just enough to hold the cab on the top, right here. So now I'm sure that this is not going to move down, because first of all it's tapered. It's not going to go up because the bezel is going around the top edge. So this is going to eliminate it from moving up. And it's not going to move this sideways to the right, or my right, because of the 2 prongs that I'm going to add here. And this way you have a beautiful, beautiful completed pendant that at the same time it's going to be in the right position. It's not going to look with that trying to cramp the bezel if you try to put it all the way around, and that's going to eliminate this problem. So that's the other one. Now there's another one that I did also, and I'm trying to look where I have it. Okay, let me take these out first. Okay, and okay, well, I don't have it here, but let's say you want to do something else. Here's another one that you could do. Let's say that we have, and I don't have one here, but let's take this one. So here I'm taking the one that we did before. I'm going to trace the line around it. Okay, so this is the cap that we have. I hope you can see it here. If you don't, I will take a picture of it and expose it on the video. But what you could do is you could actually do 3 point, which is here, here, Remember, this is just rough right now. And it is easy, very easy when you start at the point, at the sharp point, and you bend your bezel at that corner, and if you have a problem, you just cut it here, not all the way down, just on the top, and relieve the sides, the corner, from the top. So you round them off, and what's going to look like if you have the bezel is like this. And we're going to cut it like so. See, not all the way down, but this is going to be removed. So now, when you bend it, it will bend nicely, and you still have enough here that goes under the girdle. So make sure that you have your girdles done down here. So this cut, it will be about the length of the girdle. Remember, the girdle is down here, and then your caps start to form the dome above that girdle line. So if we cut it from here, then the rest is going to bend over. This one here, it's about 10 degrees on the girdle, and then the rest will be bent over. So now you have one here, we're going to have one here, and you're going to have one here. And by doing that, I got 3 points to hold that cab in. Now, you make sure that these here, it will be long enough to hold the cab from going out. And since I don't have the other cab, if this one was a triangular one, so let's say if it was maybe like this, and like that. Okay, so you will have one here, and one right there. Okay, and you'll be able to control that small piece, you know, than having complete. And what's happening usually when you get a long one that's going all around and you start bending, you're accumulating all this material by pushing in, and by the time you get to this point between the two ends, you will end up with more material coming out that you don't know what to do with it, and that's where the problem will start. And you try to bend it, and you crimp them over each other, and it's not going to look very nice. So this is the 3 way to eliminate this problem, or actually more than 3 ways. But I'm sure that some of you had different ideas and different way of doing this. So this is not the only way that you could fix this problem, but at least it will show you what to do if you come into that problem. And again, the whole idea is don't just stick with one way of doing things. You got to think out of the box, like I said. Think of new way of doing it, and at the same time you'll be able to do that new design that it's yours. It's only you that designed that that cab, and it will help you in the other ones that you're going to be designing. So this book here I use for a lot of other design that I have. Sometimes I get an idea and I just jot it down, and then I expand on it. So you're always going to have some, and there is a lot of here that I didn't actually finish yet. So I'm looking forward on looking at these and try to finish some of them. So I hope that this will be okay. On the next video, I probably will show you the finished product. So I'm going to finish these next, and I'm going to have another video to show you when these are finished. So and probably I will talk, if I did change anything, I will let you know what I changed and why I did change. Okay, well, I hope that you liked what you've seen so far, and I hope you learned the best way or the better way. I know there is a lot of other ways you could do that, but this is some of the ways that I'm using in order to be able to to get around the problem that we just showed you. So if you like the video, I think Isabella here wants to say something to you. So go ahead, Isabella.
I hope you enjoyed what you see. Comment down below, give us a thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe
To
to E.G. Jules Liberty.
Lepidati. Okay, thank you. And don't forget, if you want to follow us on Facebook, it's down below. So don't forget, and have a good day. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.